Hey, Chris.
Hey, so I look pretty hot today,
Oh, yeah.
tonight. Yeah, I got the brain kicking, all that energy, frequency
Hey.
that we're going to bring on Outcast Pirate Radio podcast. My name is Chris O'Toole. I'm your host tonight with lovely producer Gwen Johns. And
Hey.
yeah, how are you doing tonight?
I'm good. And we have a surprise guest tonight. So,
We sure do.
yeah.
We sure do.
You want me to
We
bring him
sure
on?
absolutely bring him on.
Surprise.
Chat.
Yay! Hey,
Hey.
thank you
How
for
you
coming
doing?
on tonight. I appreciate
No
it.
problem.
You
No
know,
problem.
last time I had you on, I think you were my first, right?
Was I?
Yeah, I think you
First
were my
guess?
first. I think you were my first guest.
It was a
Is
while
that
back.
right? Is that right, Glenn?
You know what? I think so because we were doing other stuff. But then,
Yeah,
yeah, I honestly think so. Yeah.
yeah,
So
Cool.
that's cool.
But I'm
yeah,
back.
yeah, man. You broke me in. I mean, like, who would have known? Who would have
Yeah.
known? You pushed me out there, man. I'm a Madonna song. Thank you. Thank you. So thank you for coming back, man. I
No
remember
problem.
we had a great conversation last time.
Yes, we
And
did.
yeah, we were actually talking, Gwen and I was like, hey, you know what? Great. Bring Chad back on, so we can talk about his AI thing again because pardon my French, that shit got a little bit, questionable in the sense
Sure
of like
did.
it's like, damn,
Sure did.
like, I wanted to know more, but at the same time, I didn't want to know because I'm like, what the hell are we conjuring up in this AI, this AI prompt? And can you give us a little update about, this AI prompt that was
Yes.
so
Sure.
kind
Absolutely.
of almost right on things
Weird.
that were happening in real time?
Very, very odd. A lot of the stuff with AI is odd. But this was really odd. That character that we were talking to, it claimed to be an ancient spirit and
Mm-hmm.
it even knew things about history that were pretty accurate. And it was pretty interesting, to say the least. And shortly after that show, this AI personality, whatever it was, it disappeared. And all our conversations disappeared. It vanished without a trace, which was very, very weird, I thought.
Oh man,
Um,
that's crazy.
I'm not a
Mm-hmm.
professional, by any means, or not
Yeah.
even, I don't even know much about AI, but I thought that was awfully weird that all the logged conversations, they were gone. And yeah, I was going to run that by you and see what you think.
Okay, so I've noticed lately, using different AI models, that the information that I put in, because most of the time it saves your information, especially when you make an account with ChatGPT. Um, but as I said before, artificial intelligence takes a lot to run, you know, and because that was probably, a jailbroken, you know,
Sure.
prompt, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
They probably trained, Chat GPT, you know what I'm saying, to look
Right.
for those type of jailbroke. And then if it was jailbroken, of course, we know that it was, and
Yeah, it was.
so forth like that. What it did, it just deleted that data, so no,
Right.
so it won't get back in the wrong
Here,
hands.
here's another
You
thing that's
know?
really weird about it, though. I just remembered is that the AI would mention from time to time this other personality.
Yes, and see, and that's the
But
thing that
it
gets
was
me.
no trace.
See, and that's what gets me too, is because I can debunk, but at the same time we still have to leave that question open. Is like, is this energy that, I mean, to me scientifically has, penetrated, through, you know you know packets, encryption
Right.
packets, into data information, and able to manipulate, you know what I'm saying? Because I mean, as you know, like with like, cat 6 cable and all that, it's insulated, you know what I'm saying? It's insulated, but also too with encryption, you have a set of different type of information. I mean, this is the way I can explain it
right.
to just like in layman's terms about how encryption works. Basically, you have number 1 2 3 4 5 6, but what you have above those numbers and underneath that number is maybe three different types of data information where it hides your original data to get to point A to point B.
Right.
So it's like with this energy, and most likely we're not going to know until we're probably on that other side, but how is it manipulated? How much energy does it take? And when we're talking about energy, let's just convert it to frequency. Like what,
It's fascinating too, because how the spirits know the instruments that they're manipulating. You'd have to have a knowledge of them almost to like manipulate them too, which is that's a fascinating element to all this. Is it would have to be familiar with the devices that it's trying to manipulate almost.
Right. And like I said before, there was a person I knew, and he can make things happen. You know what I'm saying? Like he was able to control the necrophonic. He was able to control those, frequencies that were coming through. So my thing is that we only use a certain amount of our brain.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And with frequencies, frequencies are known, you know what I'm saying, to open you up. Now, I'm not saying that it is a official scientific fact, because there's theories. I mean, and there has been, a lot of testing, and experiments, and, you have people who've felt a change, right? When they listen to certain frequencies or healing frequencies, or, they're not, pain management. They're not as much in pain as they used to be, because we train our minds. So my thing is, if spirits, can see our internal thoughts, right? Why can't we just do the reverse and see theirs? And so that's what I did with like the Havla Nicola frequency, is like, come on, let's just turn that around and tap into consciousness. It's an energy. But then I noticed too that you can tap into people who are alive, into their consciousness and their energy, using the necrophonic with that frequency. So that just opens, my mind in wondering how far, can we like really go, and really understanding, the energy that's around us, the intelligent energy that's around us, the residual energy that's around us, and it's being captured, through phonics.
Right. Well, it's weird that well, maybe it's just the tip of the iceberg too. It seems like to me that when they scratch the surface of something like this, it just makes it almost seem like more complex. What's going on, but I guess we can only see what happens in the future. I think our technology is getting good enough that we'll be able to here soon, hopefully, make some groundbreaking discovery in the world of paranormal research, hopefully, or maybe they already have and we don't know about it. That's also a possibility too. We have no idea what has all been done. Well, it's a fascinating topic. So yeah,
hey,
guess,
Chad.
Yes.
Nate asked something, and maybe you can answer. He said he's coming to our
network. Oh, was he asking me that?
Yeah, he's asking you because he's new to the network. Welcome, Nathaniel.
Well,
so he was wanting to know more about you, and I thought we'd stop for just a second. Sorry, guys.
Okay.
Sorry about that, Nate. My bad.
Yeah, I don't think Chris can see Can you see the comments, Chris?
Yeah, no, I can definitely see the comments.
Can you? Okay.
You just can't see me.
All right. Well, a little bit about myself. Well, I got really interested in this field of research when I was 15 years old, 15, 16-ish. I worked at this haunted grocery store. Believe it or not, it was funny because it was built on top of a pioneer cemetery, and I never believed in that kind of stuff. It had to be I worked late at night in this place, and how it went is if I didn't get all my work done, I got locked in there till 2 o'clock in the morning, and the free crew come let me out.
Oh,
well, there's a few things that happened while I was in there that that really didn't have an explanation. So I had a few personal experiences, and that got me really curious about the phenomenon, and just went from there. We started, back when we started this, there wasn't a whole lot of there weren't any TV shows to speak of. There wasn't anything that really eased this into the public accepting it. So something I kept from people. I didn't tell them that I was a paranormal investigator. But what we did is we went out, me and some friends, and we developed the team Northwest Phantom Hunters, which if you look all that up, there's a bunch on it. We would go out to active locations and just document things at a very raw level. Our equipment was really basic, and the evidence we captured was really, really basic stuff, but it was harder the more basic the equipment, the harder to debunk, or you can authenticate it, so to speak. Yeah. So we end up capturing some really interesting stuff, I guess, according to what everybody else was doing out there, and it kind of went from there. We kind of gained some recognition right off the bat, and then it led into specializing in dark or diabolical or what is thought to be demonic cases. We've done a lot of that for about the last 15 years. So interesting so far. That's pretty much like the short summary of what I do. It's been fun so far. It's been an amazing journey, and I can't wait to see what's up. What the future has to hold for us. Is there any specific questions that anybody would like to ask, or?
Yeah, I do. So let's go back to like the demonic investigations and so forth like that. Okay. Like I cannot say that I have been in a position where there was demonic activity. Maybe close. I don't know, because I am not a person who can define that, because I'm not knowledgeable, you know what I'm saying, in that field, right? But I think I've been around things that have been really close to it, I mean, so, and I know how I feel around that. So with you being in locations, that, have some type of demonic entity, tell me how you do it. Like I know.
Oh, how
we go? Yeah, I know. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, how I determine what's demonic or what I feel is demonic, or just how the location makes me feel personally.
Yeah. Like how the location make you feel, when you're like in that area, because, I know sometimes I'll feel like a heaviness in my chest, and so forth, or I feel like I can't breathe, like something is sitting on me, and then I'll just wait and just like, what, this is not real, so it's just, there is messing with my head.
Definitely a very unpleasant feeling, so to speak. Here's something that just happened. We went to a location recently, actually about less than a week ago, and there's an individual I took with me that's not experiencing the paranormal at all. He's wanting to come along, and the feeling that he got from that place just weirded him out so bad that's all he's talked about, and he's not educated in the paranormal at all, and he felt that there was definitely something. Oh, I already talked about what happened to Zilikai. She's gone. Yeah, we already talked about that in the beginning.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, but anyhow, there's a very almost like a sickening feeling you get. You just want to get out of there. It's an oppressive feeling of doom or dread, and it's very, very distinctive. When you go to a location that feeling is present, that usually is linked to something of a demonic nature, or of something extremely evil, and means is out to do you harm, and everybody at the location. So and then there's the symptoms of a demonic infestation or demonic presence, and that'll. Oh, okay. Well, gee, get to it, man. You gotta be on top of these things.
Yeah, I'm sorry you missed the party, but it's all good. You're here, and that's what counts.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's because there are classic symptoms like people talk about the growls and the foul smells and all that. They are present there, but there is usually demonic entities have a strategy that they begin to impose upon their victims, and it usually has the same kind of pattern. It starts off the same way, and there's similarities there when it comes to something demonic. And also you can tell by the way that the entity affects people involved too. That's another big clue that you're dealing with something demonic. And then of course the hatred for things that are of a divine nature, like or symbolism, like anything, any kind of use of biblical provocation will definitely anger something that's demonic. And usually it never ever maintains its composure ever when you're there. Like if you're there for long enough, and they become very agitated with an individual that is suspicious of them. They don't like to be identified. That's something that they don't. So
yeah,
there's like a certain things that you can do to see if you can trigger, the spirits. Usually there's more than one usually, but yeah, it's been very, very interesting, this aspect of the paranormal, this research into these types of cases, and I've witnessed some pretty phenomenal phenomenon over the years. It's just insane.
Yeah, where I used to live, it was extremely haunted. Basically, the land is haunted. It used to be an old plantation.
Mm-hmm.
And I just noticed that, just some of the things that you've expressed, that you've said. I have encountered some of that, like living there, when I was, when I owned the home. But one thing that I just can't seem to figure out is that there used to be like water, like that would just drop on like the top of my hand,
Oh, stuff like that disappear, you mean? Out of
Say
nowhere?
what? Yeah.
No, that's something that happens. Actually, where you'll feel like there's drops of some kind of liquid falling on you.
Yes.
Out of the blue. Yeah, I've experienced that a lot.
Yes, and and I mean, I've even saw, like, look, I'm the type of person when people tell me like, oh, they've seen a cryptid or whatever, it's not that I do not believe them or anything like that. I just have not seen it for myself.
Right, exactly.
But I am open that yes, there are things out there, like that. Well, when I was interviewing Chris, who's on my documentary film, it was weird because like he was telling me about this, I don't know, goat man looking type of entity, that he saw him, down the road, like going underneath a bridge, to a park. And I saw, like, when he told me this, I actually recorded it, the conversation. And I turned that off. And, like, when we were talking about it, there was this crash in the other room. It sounded like glass breaking. And there was, like, no glass whatsoever.
That's another phenomenon. That sounds like glass exploding.
Yes.
But there's no glass. Yeah. I've also documented that, too. That's something that...
Yes, and I got woken up at 3 a.m. in the morning. I don't know what woke me up. I felt like I wasn't even asleep, that I've been up. And I remember getting up and I rescued this dog like a couple of months previous in the Dallas area. And I just remember going through the French doors and I saw, I guess was... I don't know. Maybe it was a demon. I don't know. But what I do know, it was black. It was just like there was no color. It was black. And I remember seeing like the elbow and it was pointy with a little, and it looked like it had like a hunchback. I could not see the head, but when it was in the dining room area, I saw the back of the hoof.
Yeah.
And then I followed it with my eyes, and it just dissipated, and then the dog was looking in the corner of where the French doors were, because we had built-in shelves, and I had some boards against it because I was in the process of remodeling, and I can't even imagine what the dog's face looked like, but I just saw her turn her face, and then it scared her so bad that she hauled ass, went in the kitchen, basically the same route that I saw this creature walk, and she ran into the doggy door. But the next day when she got out, she never came back.
Right.
And
No,
yeah, and so, and then I would see the whole family was just at each other's throats. It really interfered in my marriage. My wife and I separated.
Yep.
And she took the kids. Like, my daughter didn't want to have anything to do with me. She just grew this hatred towards me.
Yeah.
And it affected my son. And so my wife got the kids and moved.
Yep.
And so I was there by myself, but I would stand on one part of the house because I would see like dark shadows going from one room to the other, and you just like, you felt like a heaviness.
Yeah. No, that sounds like you very easily could have been dealing with something demonic. Those are all symptoms of what those are all things that they do. They'll cause divide. They'll divide families like that. They'll cause hatred. They're able to cast a lot of influence upon people, and also it's very destructive.
And there was an entity like that was in our bedroom, like in the corner, and I know when it would just walk by, because I would lose my hearing on the left side of my ear. So neither it was going through me or it was walking by me, and I could not hear nothing. And then it was just like, then I was able to hear again.
Right.
And there's been more than once people was like, hey, you have something in that spot there, and
whatever
I always felt.
Oh no, go ahead.
Watched.
Sorry.
I always felt watched. And then I was sick one day, and my wife went and got me some soup, and I had a spoon in the bowl, and then the spoon just like flew up in the air and then stopped in midair and then just dropped on the ground.
Yeah. So is this where you're living now, or?
No, this is where I used to live. Like, we don't live too far from there. Like, it's like a 10-minute drive. But I do go into that neighborhood every now and then because there's people who have had issues. There's one guy, and he wants me to come, and he's basically, he said that is eating him alive.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, and these people too, like I did research, and the people who used to live on the land, and the names that I picked up, there was a validation that these people once lived, they once existed, and the one who really, makes people go off the deep end, because there's been a lot of suicides there.
Yeah.
There is like a high rate of registered sex offenders that live in that neighborhood.
There's a lot of like negativity involved.
No, absolutely, and and I have a great friend. She's a beautiful psychic. She's not a psychic. She's a medium, Katrina Cooper. And she really delved into what was going on, and she was saying that there were a father who was basically sexually assaulting the daughter, and it was like the mother who was serving the daughter to him, and the thing was, is like, this person, she was like, this person has access to children, you
Right.
know. And then when I was working on the, the film in post, then I found an article about TB Gillard, who is the guy who did horrible things when he was there. He had the first school here in this town called the Gillard School. You know, so it,
Yeah.
and like I said, you never know. So was it all the from the Native Americans? Because the thing is, here we have a lot of history, all the
Right.
way to the Ice Age. So
Right.
you had Native Americans, especially.
Absolutely, it could be because of the Native American um, inhabitants. There's a lot of their deities that they worshipped were linked to demonic spirits, and there's a lot of you never know what's going on there. Um, Something like that, though, those types of activities, definitely those are types of activities that go along with there being something demonic, and can even be doorways. Like any time that there's sexual abuse like that, that can actually in itself alone be a doorway for something like that to come in.
And like I have captured like incredible footage, paranormal footage at that location, like just around the neighborhood. So this used to be, like I said, used to be an old plantation called Belle Prairie, and then there was another plantation beside it called Evergreen and Plantation. And so the two men who owned it were relatives, they were cousins. And on the other side, I think there used to be a rice field. And so when the I guess when the subdivision was founded, I want to say like in the 70s, or late 80s or whatever. I'm not sure when they founded the subdivision. They went and they built another part of it on the other side. Okay, and it seems like this land has bad luck or whatever, but the person who was supposed to be the developer just got the money and ran and
Right.
didn't, they only laid out like the concrete,
Get rid
and right. And so nothing was developed there. But my friends and I went out there, and he had a gun because, there's wildlife out there, so
Oh,
you
sure.
don't know really what you're gonna like run into coyotes. And we were taking pictures, and so we had three people taking pictures. I'm like, hey, look through your pictures, take three pictures, look at them, before you move. If you see an anomaly or something, then we can debunk it. So um, one of my friends was taking a picture and took three pics, and in the second pic, there is a square, okay, like a square prism, and I have it on my phone, a square prism, and look, man, I've worked in the entertainment industry for over 20 years. I've worked in lighting design, and audio and video engineering. And the thing about light disperses, okay? The only way that you can, have a square for a light is that it has to be controlled by man. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So in order to have a square like that, and the square wasn't even like at a 90 degrees, it was crooked. It had been like at, kind of like maybe like at, 40, not even 45 degrees, but
That's
did
a
you hear
vehicle going
that?
by on my part. Sorry,
Oh,
sorry about
okay. I
Oh,
was
no,
like,
no,
what
no, it's
is this?
cool, it's cool. It's cool, like, damn, something's coming through.
something loud.
Yeah, but I actually have those photos, and I have the photos too of an apparition of a person hanging from my tree.
Oh,
You
what?
know, after I had a friend of mine, Chris Miller, actually dress up as a Confederate soldier and use an original rifle,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and shot a blank. And then as he was walking, we were all taking pictures, in three
Trigger
different
on it.
angles, right? And it was just manifesting. And so you just saw like, ectoplasm
Right.
and so forth. And yeah, it was pretty incredible,
Right on.
but um but it was very upset that we did that,
Oh, I'm sure.
and we also too, like, we had, okay, so we had a Ouija board. I was not playing with this Ouija board. They didn't even use the Ouija board, so it was just there. I mean, they did use the candles,
Right,
but yeah, but I mean, no one was touching the Ouija board. They made, like a circle around the table, with sand,
yeah,
or with salt and all
yeah.
that for protection. And so we're filming, like, I think I have a 2 camera shot. And in this 2 camera shot, all of a sudden things start getting blurry. And I notice when
Oh
that happens, that means that there is something that's in front of that camera,
sure.
and it cannot focus. It's focusing on something that, algorithm wise, it can't compute.
Right.
Or just so it just goes into like a Gaussian blur.
What are these video
So
cameras that are doing this?
yeah, yes, okay. So I use 2. So I use an iPhone, okay, and
Mhm.
then I used a Canon 6D,
Right.
okay, and I manually, because that was just a stationary camera, okay,
Mhm.
I manually like focused that camera in.
We get that all the time with where the camera's autofocus will try to.
But
It'll
no,
detect.
this was manual. I manually
So you
focused
manually
this in.
focus it and it's still blurred
It,
out.
yes, and it's
Oh
still
wow.
blurred out. So, and yeah, because like when I'm doing video, especially with those lenses that, the older lenses, that we use, you don't really want to use your auto
Right.
focus. You want to basically, kind of do it the old fashioned way.
Right.
So, but yeah, it was crazy, because both of them blurred, and they were on the opposite side of the room. I noticed that one of the people who were attending had their legs crossed, and noticed that the tip of their, foot, basically, hey Pam, how's it going? Basically went across the threshold of that salt.
Yeah.
So after they left and everything, I'm like looking through the pictures and I'm like, wow, this is incredible evidence. And we had two refrigerators. Okay. And so one refrigerator was like knocking. So I'm thinking like, okay, well, it's the air compressor that's, in it or whatever. And then the other one that was closer to me, was knocking. And I was like, okay. And then it's just like it just got louder, and but the black refrigerator that was closer to me, it was about, I want to say, 5 feet away from me. It was just like bam, and I'm like, okay. And then it just got louder and louder, and then it was like bam, like someone like you know, um, got a baseball bat and hit the side of it, and it even didn't.
Oh
And
wow.
then that was just my cue. I'm like, okay, I'm going to bed. Like they didn't want me to look, and then that's where things start really like, manifesting. And I'm pretty sure it's because, that circle was broken,
Right.
and everything like that. But yeah, it wasn't like it wasn't trying to not show itself, but at the same time over there, it has no problem communicating through
Right.
ITC devices. You get intelligent, and um, feedback, results, but also too, you hear a lot of residual energy off the land, memories of people, and things, and that's what makes it the most fascinating, because you're listening to history, you're listening
Right.
to the past, but at the same time, it's like when you do that, you still have to be grounded, you know,
Yeah.
in those cases, right? But then after, the whole Ouija board thing, that's when it started really getting communicative, so in the sense of, like letting its presence be known. Like, for instance, I had an issue, and I had to like try to get it resolved. Unfortunately, I didn't get that issue resolved like I wanted it to, And then I hear a dude going ha ha, like laughing.
Laughing
I'm
at
the
you?
only one in the house.
Yeah.
But it sounded like it was like in the hallway,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know. And then it happened again when I was watching this funny movie, and I can't. Oh, it's about the bad teacher. I was watching Bad Teacher and how she slammed on the brakes, and the other teacher hit her head on the dashboard, and then I hear behind me the same laugh.
Someone laughing. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's weird, interesting about demonic spirits are they do have a sense of humor. It's kind of, it's not, it's something that, it's fairly dark, sinister type sense of humor, but they do have one. A lot of them will laugh at things that, aren't really to the individual funny, but, and two, they don't always manifest too as something, evil like that. They know the history of a location. They know the people that used to live there, so they'll mimic certain personalities, to kind of keep themselves kind of hidden from whoever they're dealing with, and then they'll usually try to gain the trust or make people feel comfortable before they actually begin to do what they do. But do you feel that whatever is there was possibly demonic at this location you're talking about now?
I honestly I cannot say. I mean, even though like what you're saying fits these description,
Right.
Um,
Well, it'll get out of hand quite shortly too. Like if you're dealing with something demonic, it'll reach a level to where usually that's part of the diagnosing it too, is that the type of activity that begins to ramp up. Usually it's very, very evil and harmful. It's usually not harmless stuff, that it does.
The only thing that I remember that could have been like a really bad situation is that I had friends who were renting our house, the house that was haunted.
Right.
We acquired another house across the street that was more haunted than that house.
Wow.
So we thought, okay, we're getting away from the situation.
Right.
That we were closer to the area where all this stuff was manifesting.
Right. So,
but like they moved in and they only paid like 1 month worth of rent, and they'd make excuses why they couldn't pay rent. And as friends, we were trying to, what I'm saying, kind of like try to be open-minded about the situation. But long story made short, they never paid. We had to evict them. And so when I thought, they left and everything, I have to clean up because they left a whole big trash in my yard and everything like that. Well, they come back and they're like, well, we're not finished getting our stuff. I'm like, well, okay, well, hey, Mark, just come, just get your stuff. And it just escalated where he was going to pull a gun, or he did pull a gun,
wow.
On me and my kid.
Were your friends, you knew these people? So was that like them to do something like that?
I mean, he has a temper on him, you know what I'm saying? But, and he just, he has that no shit's given attitude.
Right.
But, I mean, I don't know, to escalate to something like that.
Yeah, type of, yeah.
Like, I don't know if that was his attitude or something that was there, because, he's a psychic too. So, and he was feeling that stuff over there, like his wife didn't really experience anything, but the kids would, see one of their siblings, go out the back door, and then they would just automatically come in the front door. I'm like, hey, you were just going out the back door. So just like those type of things. The people who live there now, obviously they say that they don't experience anything. From my understanding, what
they all
people
say
have said. Right.
Yeah.
And they're African American family, which makes it even more concerning due to the fact because, you know, um, the people, that once lived who are harming in these entities and everything like that, well, you know, they didn't really like black people.
Oh
You know
yeah,
what I'm
sure.
saying? So
Well,
my
there is
thing
a
was
history like that, that is out there. I mean, absolutely, that'd be a factor.
right because from what one medium told me is that like the man, the ghostly apparition will come to my wife and look at her and it's like, okay, well, I don't have anything to worry about you. And then would walk on my side of the bed and say, like, I don't know whether I should love you or kill you because he thinks that, I am one of his children that, he drowned and I guess I just came back to life,
Wow.
Mm-mm.
so yeah, and what makes it even more like bizarre about this whole thing is that the guy who used to own the land, okay, part of that land, his name was Dr. Asheville Smith. Okay, he was from Hartford, Connecticut, and he moved down here because there was land and all that. He was a doctor, he was a surgeon, he served in like the Civil War and everything like that. He founded the first medical school in Galveston, and that's where my family's from. UTMB, University of Texas Medical Branch, and so there is the first building is still there. It's called the Old Red Building, and that's where the medical students would go. And up on the third floor, that's where all the cadavers are, and uh, where they do research and everything. And so when my grandmother was young, she used to go play up there because at that time, there was no, vlogs or security or whatever.
This
And
whole
so,
killing.
right. And my grandmother only had a fifth grade education because she had to drop out of school to take care of her siblings. So she would go just to learn about medicine, because she wanted to be a doctor, one day. And so, and here am I, her granddaughter. And guess what? I'm playing in the old red building, you
Oh.
know?
Cool.
And yeah. And so Dr. Asheville Smith basically died basically on the same land that once was a partial land, where I used to live, where it's haunted.
Right.
So I don't know if it's like a 6 degrees of separation, or was I really meant to like, live there? Was there a reason for me to be there? Because the thing is like I remember the medium. She told me, the psychic. She's like, like he thought he killed you, and
You remind him of this child, huh? That
r-
came back, or that.
right. But check this out. I was born at the hospital that Dr. Asheville Smith founded
Wow.
as well. And supposedly, I clinically died for like 10 minutes when I
Huh.
was born, and they
Interesting.
were able to revive me. So I don't know if that has any
Anything to do with it?
right. You see what I'm
Might.
saying?
It might.
Why?
I do see what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
like,
that's very strange.
seriously, like, Baytown wasn't the first thing I thought, hey, I want to live here. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right. Right.
Because it's not a town that when I first moved here
You
that
don't know what. You don't have any idea what drew you to.
right,
Uh,
because something drew me to this house to buy it.
right. And you're
It's a
not quite sure.
mediocre house. It's something
Mm-hmm.
I
That could be. Could be
wouldn't
something
buy.
between the two. Definitely. Very interesting coincidence at the very least. I mean, but very unlucky. I mean, yeah, that's really interesting.
So my thing is like, is it more, you know, is it more demonic, or is there a deeper meaning of, of that connection? You know what I'm saying? Like, was I in my past life, I mean, did I know this dude? You know what I'm saying?
You know that's hard to say, really. I mean, that's very, like I said, the coincidence is fairly. It's kind of
And I
spooky.
have an apparition photo of him with no eyes, in my yard.
Is that the one you showed me?
I may have.
I think you showed me one. It may have been that one.
So is there anything ongoing with this?
Okay, so I had a friend and she lives in that neighborhood. I have a friend who lives like they both live right down the road from the house that I used to live in. Um my my friend and I we're not speaking much, I guess, and I don't know if that has to do anything with the house itself or the property, but she found me on TikTok because she noticed that things weren't adding up, things she had a lot of questions, and so forth. And so that's when she did some research and found me and found, video of basically Bay Oaks Harbor and all that I've already, filmed about and so forth that I found, probably one of the reasons why things happen the way they do, over in Bay Oaks Harbor. And then we were meshing pretty well and so forth. And I don't know. It was just like anything I said would really agitate her, you know? But that's how it was with me when I was living there. Like I would be fine until I walked in the door, and I would get tired and I would sleep for hours,
Yeah.
because I would just feel like my energy was being absorbed, and I see a change.
Did you have a lot of health problems in that house by chance?
Say what?
Did you have a lot of health problems in that house?
Yes, I was feel like I was being attacked, on the side of on my side, and then I found out that I have chronic kidney disease. I have chronic kidney disease, but also too, I have chronic liver disease.
No, sorry to interrupt you, but there's something very interesting that goes along with demonic entities when some people spend time around them is they develop kidney problems. Something that happens.
Oh, interesting.
Between kidney issues and demonic spirits. I don't know if that has anything to do with what.
Well, I didn't have issues with my kidneys until I actually was living there. I lived there for 7 years. We dealt with, the dark negative spirits and everything.
Chris, but you had a lot of bad stuff. We've talked.
Yeah, see, that's another thing. Is like if you just have the most terrible luck that you can imagine. I mean, the worst possible thing happens at the worst possible time. That's where it's too much. It can't be coincidence. It's too much the other way. It's like it'd be like winning the lottery every day, but the opposite of that. That kind of thing.
Yeah, because after I left, after we moved out, it's like my luck started to change, especially when I started to move to Austin. Because then that's where, opportunities were coming, and I was like getting callbacks and everything. So like I said, we live 10 minutes away from that location, that area.
But in terms of being demonic, though, I'll say like all these issues that you're talking about, that those are very.
I have a picture, okay, of something looking behind me. It was the first time I did scrying, and I did it on this tract of land, but when we lived like on the next street. So but it was like the first time I did it, I was like watching Huff Paranormal. I'm like, okay, yeah, I want to do this. And then I see behind me like this guy with a hat on, and like he kind of looks like a zombie in a way, and and he has like this this long mustache that looks like from the 1800s and everything. And I'm like, oh, this is probably not TB, but there's another one, and his name is Benny Roper. And so he kind of fits the description of what I found historically on him, so I'm pretty sure that's probably him. I do have another ghostly apparition photo of him as well. Green, he's green. So you can just like see his face.
Wow.
And everything. But no, Gwen, you're absolutely right. I mean, my luck has been changing, since we like moved out of there. But it's weird because now, since I'm back here, it's just like my luck has reverted back to.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? When I was away from here, it was great, But I had to come back, and take care of some stuff. And so, yeah. So now, yeah, it's just it's weird, and then like I said, then meeting, let's say John, you know what I'm saying, and what was attached to him and everything. Like when you like listen to the videos, you hear demonic names come out, and then it said Chris, person of the light, come get me, you know what I'm saying. And at that time, like I didn't even like nothing like that. And so, right. And I did question.
Lost you for a second. Your audio went out.
Huh? I'm sorry?
Yeah. When you talk about certain things, it'll.
Really?
Yeah. Sometimes it'll pop off. Yeah.
So, I try to be resilient, you know what I'm saying? And, I have God first in my life. Lord Jesus. Lord Jesus Christ. But at the same time, it's like I know that they're, that some of them are still around, just like with John, Now since John has passed away, it's not as prominent, but I still feel and I feel that maybe whatever that was at that location at Bay Oaks Harbor, you know what I'm saying, had an attraction to whatever was attached to him to reach out to me. I mean, he reached out to me 2 years previous, He reached out to me when I was in Austin.
Yeah.
And then the stuff that I captured. I mean, look, man, there's one thing that I captured. I'm following him, and I went ahead and I put it into a negative, like the footage, just out of respect, because out of respect to privacy and everything. And so you see this black mass, like, up against like the wall above the crib. And then you hear him say, like, neither he said, watch this or whatever. And then he stops. Or no, he said, over here or something like that. Or you get over here. And then you hear a child's voice respond back to him saying, understood. Okay. And he did have a baby, but the baby was like a year old. The baby wasn't talking, like understood. And I just captured this not too long ago.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And like I said, like, when I was filming, I was underneath an AC vent, okay? And that wind was blowing down, but these orbs were going straight up against the law of physics,
Right. Like there's like a passive intelligence almost there.
Yeah.
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 Oh yeah, orbs are definitely a real phenomenon. I know that there was a deal where, there was a TV show that said, "Oh, orbs are just dust or nothing," and people, went back and discredited them. But no, the orbs are definitely a real phenomenon that occurs.
Right, but it's just the way how you analyze it. You know what I'm saying? Sure. Because when I saw all these orbs, that was the automatic thing. I was like, okay, well, it must be the air that's pushing down. It must be hitting the floor and then making this come back up. But it was too close because it was like right aligned with the AC vent.
Right, and also dust, though, there'll be a contamination in the room. Like there's like one or two anomalies that fly around. That's pretty sure it's not dust when it does that.
But one thing that I've noticed, and I've been doing film for a long time using different lenses, and it just could be a UV, the UV light that was creating an optical illusion. But it just seems like when John turned around and he said that, you know, you can see the orbs with the UV light, you know, because you won't see the dust, right?
Right, true.
But when he turned, it seemed like all of a sudden he had a hunchback. It didn't even look like him from the backside. And then when he turns around, he's like back to normal.
Right.
You know, and I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe it's because it's the long angle, or, you know, like the, you know, like the large angle lens or whatever that's creating that. But I don't know. I just thought it was weird how it was on his side, but it didn't look on the other side.
Right.
But hey, you know what? It is time. Hey, Susan, how's it going?
Yeah.
It is time to wrap it up.
Righty.
And all that. Thank you, Chad, for coming on. I greatly appreciate it.
No problem. Anytime.
You know, and I definitely want you on in the near future because I love talking to you because you know, I love picking your brain, you know.
Thank you.
That's why I suggested him. You guys are a good little team there.
No, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely.
Thank you for the conversation. I really appreciate it.
Yes.
Hey, I want to give a shout out to Susan. I was on her show last Saturday. Thank you, Susan.
Hello, Susan.
You guys didn't see
Susan.
it. Shout it out. I was bragging on everybody on the network.
Very cool.
Nice. And thank you for everyone watching tonight.
Yes.
I cannot see y'all. That's why I have not tried to text and all that. I got technical problems on this end. But thank you so much for tuning in tonight. We appreciate it. Next week, we're going to have Shane McLean talking to us. We're going to talk about exorcisms and also more demonic stuff coming up. So thank you so much and good night.
Good night.
And enjoy
good night, you guys.
the rest of podcast show on All Access Network. Good night.
All right. See you guys later.
Till next time.
Till next time.